Hi, my name is Bianca Noir, and a lot of people don't know, growing up, I didn't really hydrate very often. I wasn't encouraged to hydrate very often, and I was actually really, really sick, and I sort of slipped through people's fingers because I was being neglected, and so I didn't even know I was sick, and I have a high pain threshold, so I didn't even really think that anything was wrong. But one of the top things that was wrong was that I was not drinking really any water. And as a child, I was eating candy and I was drinking sodas. And I thought that was giving me energy, and it wasn't. It was actually really, really depleting my energy, highs, and then I would crash. So, one of the top things that I like to recommend to people now is drinking a lot of water. There's some upkeep with drinking water that people don't like to do. This is about how much water I drink per day, and actually I could drink more. And to be perfectly honest, about a gallon of water per day is actually really healthy. I think personally it helps me, and you will have more energy if you drink water. You will. I promise. If you drink the water, you will have more energy because the foods that you eat will be processed more easily, and your cells will be more hydrated, and your cells will have more nutrition, and you will have less digestive problems. Because what I started to run into was a lot of stomach and digestive problems that people associate with things like IBS. Doctors will say that you have a gastrointestinal problem. I also had a bacterial infection in my intestinal tract. Who knows really what that was from? But to be perfectly honest, a lot of women, I think, and maybe even men too, have this issue because their body is not really hydrated enough, and they are not really eliminating all of the bacteria from their system. In fact, you want to completely flush your system, and you want the insides of your intestines to sort of be, how would I say this, detoxifying. You want a little bit, I think, of the intestinal cellular buildup there. You want that to be flushed out each time too. And I think it's my belief that that's going to help you feel, look better, feel better, look better. It's going to help you feel younger and look younger too. I think one of the reasons why I look a little bit younger than my age now, some of it has to do with genetics. People with, you would be surprised, but people with African heritage often look younger at older ages than people with other heritages. If you have a little bit of African heritage, sometimes it can make you look a little bit more youthful. You have a few less wrinkles than other folks do, than other heritages do. And so a lot of times people think that I'm younger, and they treat me younger, and they treat me like I'm inexperienced, which isn't something that I like very much. But then at the same time, who wants all that pressure of being an experienced one? Anyway, I'll tell you my secrets of water, okay? So one of the things you need to do with your water is you need to make sure that you clean this water bottle on a daily basis. You need to clean your straw. You need to clean the outer straw. You need to clean on all the way on the inside. If you have a smaller water bottle like this one, you're going to want to use one of these and get in there and clean that out. All right, so I use that one sometimes. Then you're going to want to use one of these tools and get in there. And I don't want, because it's clean right now, and get inside right there and move this around. Okay, it's like a little eyelash spoolie. Comes with a straw, and you want to do that same cleaning with the spoolie in and out, and twist it around with dishwashing liquid and hot water. And then what you're going to do for this one is you're going to stick this straw. I'm going to stick this straw in, right? All right, into the bottom here. So it sticks into the bottom, and then it sticks in here. And right now I'm trying to let this air dry out because actually I don't have a dishwasher. And so it makes it extra work for me. I don't have a dishwasher. All right, so these are air drying right now because I have class and I need to drink all this today and it's already half the day over. All right, so what you need to realize drinking water is you have a responsibility, like a social responsibility every day as a human being, not to fuck up the earth. Everybody does, but they do it anyway. And I fuck up the earth in my own way by using paper plates sometimes. I don't like this. I look for a different solution. Right now, I'm like having a lot of problems. I don't have that much time. I'm having legal problems. I'm having personal problems, social problems, and I'm tired at the end of the day. And so when I make a meal, sometimes I'll put it on something else, like a paper towel or something, and just throw that away. Typically, I would want to use everything reusable. And if I did, I want a very good compostable, disposable thing. So a compostable paper plate, compostable napkins, compostable silverware that breaks down relatively quickly, because plastic, people talk about how plastics, right, can be recycled. They can only be recycled twice before then they have to be destroyed. And when they're destroyed, they can't be used again. And that leaves behind substances. And there's also microplastics in our water, in the oceans, in the streams, and everything else. We have microplastics in our system from the plastics that we create. Now, all the things that we create in the world, it is man-made, but these are organic substances. They all come from the earth. It's not like they come from an inorganic place. I want to say that I truly believe that we can find things to eliminate these problems on this earth. Okay, to break down the things that we cannot recycle, that we cannot reuse. Now, I recommend a pitcher, or there are water bottles now that have filters that go in the cap, and then you fill it at any water fountain or sink with the normal water system, and it filters out all impurities. So I've been using something like this actually all my life. I just didn't realize the importance of drinking a lot of water. And actually, if I went through all the water in the house, there would probably be a problem because other people would want water and then they'd have to wait for it to fill up. That's part of the problem with water pitchers, is how long it takes to fill up. If you want to drink water and the water pitcher is empty, some people like it cold, some people like it hot, some people like it with ice cubes. I like it room temperature, and I leave it out, and then I wash the water pitcher. And it's also filtered. So I'm actually, it's like double filtered. Okay, and it's really important. See, I've actually been using this Brita pitcher for a while, a couple of years, and I probably should have it replaced. But to be perfectly honest, if you keep replacing your filters, if you don't have that much money to keep buying pitchers, just clean it and then get new filters. And I've got some, this is like store brand replacement water filters, and it came with 3, and it was actually a lot cheaper than buying the Brita ones. And you can do this every once in a while. You know, if Brita would support me and send me pictures, I would definitely support their company, I think, for the most part. You know, I don't think that anything about this is cruel. I don't see how it could be, cruel to animals, but I would support a filter that was vegan and cruelty free, and water is definitely vegan. So the step-by-step instructions here, I have actually cleaned with a toothbrush. I have a toothbrush here, and I go in every once in a while because the mold will start to build up in weird places. And there was mold like down here. There was a little bit of mold and stuff that I had found, just a tiny little bit. So what I did was get in there with hot water and my 7th generation dish detergent. So I love 7th generation products because they're vegan and cruelty free, and they are basically clinical strength. So I get in there with the toothbrush. I clean that out as best I can. All right, clean it. And then what I'm going to do, all right, so I had removed all these parts, right? They're all removable. All these little parts and things, they're removable. So what I did was figure out how to pop this thing off the side. And now you just pop it back on. Pop it, popped. See it pop back on the handle, right? So you don't have to just throw this thing away. I used to think, okay, so it looks bad, so I'm going to throw it away now. Okay, so you don't have to throw it away. So this part removes, and you wash all this around here and into here, right there. And that goes on top, right? So that goes on top. Then you're going to take the lid, and you have to wash all around in here. So there's mold that builds up sometimes. But if you clean it, it's not a problem. If you leave it and drink it, that's going to be an issue, and it's probably going to get you congested. And it might actually make you really sick, okay? So I'm really like, I have a lot of problems with mold because I usually live in older apartments and older buildings. I'm in there a lot. Sometimes dance studios will have buildup of mold. Stores that I go into will have buildup of mold, like in the vents, ventilation and stuff. So this snaps on, right? This snaps on. So step-by-step instructions, I'm going to tell you how to filter your water now. So what you're not going to do is stick this directly in and start making water. You could take this off and soak this for a little while in here, or you can stick it in here into some cup, right? This happens to be a Starbucks cup from Christmas that I got. They just were nice to me that day and gave me a Starbucks cup. All right, so you're going to soak your filter in water first. Soak the filter. Soak it for a little bit. Okay? And then what you're going to do next is you are going to follow the directions on the box, or on whatever the box for the water pitcher is. You're going to come with a couple of filters. And then next what you're going to do is you're going to put the filter into the Brita pitcher. Now, when you put the filter into the Brita pitcher, there's going to be some notches on the bottom. So you see there's some notches here, right here. I'll show you. Are notches on the bottom. These notches are going to match up with the inside of your pitcher. And sometimes you have to stick it all the way down. It has to fit just right in there. And this pitcher, it doesn't. But sometimes it has to like slide in like this crisscross. Okay? Once you have soaked your filter and you stick it in the pitcher, then you run 2 filtration cycles of water. You fill it up to max fill. It says right here, max fill. You fill it up to where the stop point is. You fill it up to about here. All right, that's all the water you get with this pitcher. Then you have to fill it up again. That's twice. Okay, so that'll make you maybe roughly 10 minutes max. You do this. Pour that out. Then you're going to have a fresh pitcher of water. This takes 2 fills of this pitcher to fill this up. And what I do is a Nun tablet. I don't know how this is pronounced. N-U-U-N. Sport Hydration. I like the lemon lime. I think there's a pink lemonade, berry. I like that one too. And I put 1 tablet. I used to put 2 tablets, but then I found out that I would go through these really fast, and I really only need the 1. And what it does is it simply flavors the water so that I guzzle it. So I'm constantly guzzling it. Every 15 minutes I take a slurp. Otherwise, I'll drink too slowly. I might not finish. This really encourages drinking. And I'd recommend for a child, maybe you do a Nun tablet and cut it in half. The tablets kind of look like this, like they're wafers. Cut it into bits in your child's water. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with that, but of course use your own discretion and maybe contact your doctor about that. And then they'll be drinking water a lot faster. Or put a tiny bit, I can sometimes put a little bit of lime juice, organic, natural additives and no preservatives or anything, just a little bit of lime. That might make your bottle a little bit sticky, but to be perfectly honest, what the goal is here is to drink as much water as you can, getting up to about a gallon of water. Now, I've heard stories about people having water poisoning, and those were ravers and dancers at raves who were rolling on ecstasy and LSD and things like that, and they were over consuming water as almost like a drug. Like eventually, like if you drink so much water, you'll start having some sort of hallucinatory experience that they were trying to have, or maybe they feel like they're connecting with something else. Anyway, they'd end up in the hospital for overconsumption of water because something happens to your system at that point. So you don't want to drink too much. I'll be honest with you. Most people can't drink that much, but don't be drinking 2 and 3 and 4 gallons of water per day, especially if you are dancing a lot, constantly dancing, ecstatic dancing and things like this. I've heard you can be hospitalized and that people have died. So about a gallon of water, this is actually 77 ounces or 2.27 liters of water. I drink about this much per day. And then sometimes I'll fill it, maybe a little bit more because I'm a little bit thirsty. You know what? You should be every hour or so incrementally drinking more and more water. All right. So I think I have soaked this for a few minutes, right? I'm going to rinse it off. So I stuck it in there. See, it looks like this, right? And stick it in there like that. And then what you are going to do is put that lid on, and you are going to fill that up. I like to fill it up with cool water from the tap, and then I like it to be lukewarm because I have pretty sensitive teeth. You can see it starts to drip, and it's dripping, and that's kind of relaxing to watch. But if you're really thirsty, it's going to drive you nuts. It's like watching a pot of water boil. And see, it's not taking that long. In fact, I could actually pour some of this into my water bottle if I really needed to run, and I would get about this much water, about a quarter of how much water I actually want, because I want to carry this around with me all day and not worry that I'm going to be thirsty. So one more time, I'm going to cycle this next cycle of water, and I'm going to let it drip, and then I'm going to fill my water bottle. And it takes a little bit of extra time, but what you will find is this is actually so easy if you get in the habit of doing the maintenance. You can actually take something like this on the road with you and have fresh water wherever you go. If you have brown water or filthy, you have moldy water from the pipes have mold in them and stuff like that, you're going to need more than just this. But this filtration system for the reduction of chlorine, taste and odor, copper, mercury, benzene, cadmium, zinc, and lime scale. You're going to go on the road, maybe there's one where, again, it screws on. The filter is on the inside of the lid of a small bottle, and you can just fill that up wherever you go. Even if it has filtered water wherever you are, you can still refilter it. There's nothing wrong with that. So you see, it didn't take that long to process this water. This whole thing took me about 10 minutes, and I poured that all out. And this is going to be my fresh water now, okay? Because I let it cycle twice. I took the filter. This is just tap, and I swear to you, it tastes just as good, if not better, than my favorite, which has always been Aquafina. Brands I do not like. I do not like them. I don't. I would rather have my own filtered water from home, and I take that out with me, especially with a tablet like this. And there are other hydration. I don't like them as much because this has like no sugar, no carbs. Really, 4 grams of carbs, and I only do 1 tablet, and this takes me all day. 2% sugar, 1 gram added sugar, only 1 gram in this whole tablet for all day. So I'll be perfectly honest with you. I prefer this over liquid hydration or anything else. Those are way too sweet. I don't like it. It doesn't taste right to me. And it's like drinking candy. I don't like that. This works for me. Nun tablet, I support them. They're vegan and cruelty free. And again, if you are really thirsty and you need to fill her up right now, put your finger on this lid here, put your finger and pour. If you don't, it's going to go all over the place. And also, when you stick it in the sink, make sure it is level, because otherwise it will topple over and you'll lose everything and have to start over again with your water. It's not that complicated, people. You don't have to buy all this plastic bottles of water. The plastic bottles of water fill the landfills. I mean, you can do crafts with them and stuff like that. But I'll be perfectly honest with you. Living like this, if you put the steps into place, is so much better for the environment. You'll feel so much better and you'll be so much more hydrated if you follow these steps. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.